Alright, welcome back to a not touch designer tutorial, but this is my overview, or an overview of my bachelor thesis, bachelor project, that I finished in November 2020. And yeah, I just wanted to show you what I did, because it might be interesting for a lot of you working with Touch Designer, because this is completely done in Touch Designer. And so this is, in this video, I'm just going to completely talk about the practical side of it. The whole project was divided into a theoretical part, which I'm going to upload soon and publish, and a practical part, which is what you see here. So in this video, I'm just gonna explain what this is all about and go through the whole thing and just show you what you can do with it. And in the end, I'm gonna talk about what doesn't really work yet, because it's really an early alpha version, and also what plans and ideas I have for the future with this. Yeah, so what is this actually about? The project is really about audio visualization, live audio visualization. So what I had in mind with this is that I wanted to be able to work together with musicians and DJs to be able to perform live on stage and to visualize the music in a cool way. And there's some major some things I wanted to focus on, and that was first off, I wanted to make this whole thing, the visuals and everything, real time, because usually when you work as a VJ, you just have videos that you put effects on and that you sort of mix together, which is cool and its own thing. But for me, it was important to make generative and real time art, so visuals that are computed in real time. And the second thing is I wanted to focus on something I wanted to make the art look organic and natural. So, or in a sense, be inspired and try to sort of simulate natural and organic phenomena and structures. So things like chemical reactions, or clouds, or microscopic images, or if you look from the on the Earth from space or something like that. So there's all these sort of structures and things that really inspire me that I loosely wanted to recreate and then make those move to the music. Yeah, and I also just wanted to try and test what it's like to completely build such system in Touch Designer. So as you all know, following me on this channel, I've been working with Touch Designer for 2 years now. So I really wanted to test what I can do with this software in terms of creating more complex systems and not just the visuals. So actually the longest part was actually making the whole system, and I actually halfway through the process I sort of completely redid the whole thing, and the usual project, this kind of stuff. Yeah, so yeah, just these main things to keep in mind here. I wanted to make this real-time, generative, audio reactive, and have a focus on organic art for the outcomes. So the basic structure of this project is it's both divided visually into 2 screens, as you can see here, the left and the right screen. I also have these, I have 2 physical screens right in front of me and also on stage. So before I actually explain that, I actually tested this live in Dresden, in Germany, and at they're called Day Festival. I'm going to link that in the description, the performance. And so that actually, the whole thing, it works. I tested it for a 45-minute live performance in a church with mapping there. It was really cool, really fun. So yeah, so it works, just so you know. I actually tried it. But right, so what we have here is to set up 2 displays, 2 screens. And I personally have one of those, for me, is a touch screen, but you know, that doesn't have to be that way. I just wanted to try and test that, if that makes sense. And there's technically a third screen, which is the output. So what you can see here, the small thing, I'm going to get closer to the displays once I explain it in detail. But what you can see here is like the output. So I can switch between the two displays, and this is what's going to be projected to the projector, or like wherever. Cool. So I have divided these screens not only on like, you know, visually, but also as projects. So I actually have two Touch Designer projects running at the same time. So two files running at the same time, and this means I can talk to, or like sort of have my projects be processed onto two separate CPU cores, not separate CPUs, but cores. So this means if one lags, for example, the other one is still like running smoothly. So they're sort of independently processed, which is great. The thing is though that if you have two projects, you need to like send data in between them. So you can't just connect operators like that, like, you know, you usually would. So I'm sending like data from one to the other constantly, which is working pretty well though, and with barely any lagging. So just so you know that we have two projects running here, and these are sort of like divided into two like sections, and the right section is sort of what I call the control, or the interface, actually control, where I control both the audio input and setup and all that, and where I actually control the visuals. And on the left side, we have the sort of monitoring screen, which I call it, where we can always see the visuals. And so if I change something here, you can instantly see what's happening there. And also we have two sort of like, two post-processing controls, which I can speak to like with my MIDI controller. I'm gonna get to that in a second, or like later. So if you see a black screen at some point, like, don't worry about that. It's some weird setup problem. It's just so you know. All right, let's actually start with this screen because because I want to. So on this screen, we, as I said, we have this. We can control the audio input or any kind of input, and the visuals. So on the left, we have divided this again into like an upper part, and the lower part is black. I'm going to like talk about that at the end of the video. What we can do here is we can either like use the input of a file. So I can just play a file here, and you can instantly see the feedback here. I'm gonna get to that in a second. And I can also switch to device in. So this is what you're actually gonna do on stage. You don't want to use a file. You want to use your audio interface or whatever, you know, just to get the input going from your DJ or band or whatever, whoever is playing. So you just want to get the master or something. All right, so we're gonna work with a file right now though, and then you can just select a file here with a huge list of files, as you can, of music, and you can just reset the song to the beginning and play it. So very simple controls. This is all done from scratch, by the way, and it's all built with the UI system of, like, the widget system of Touch Designer, just so you know. Don't worry about this. I'm gonna get to that. And you can also, of course, like, control the audio output. Like, this is all just for testing the actual. Like, if you're on stage, you're not gonna be able to control that. You don't want to listen to that, anyways. So then we have these 6 what I call widgets, or actually it's 5 because these belong together. And about these, I'm going to explain them a bit in a second, but I also have a video where I completely explain, and like a tutorial where I explain how to build this. And then we have these 4 widgets here. And what all of these are doing, like, they're like, these 4 are getting like the signals from the song. So like the overall level, like the general amplitude of the song, and then the kick, snare, and hats, which we can fine tune here. I'm going to show that in a second. But what's happening here while we're doing this, and the same with the rhythm here that we can manually play in, we're sending that over to the visuals over here. And for every parameter that we have for the visuals, so we have an upper and a lower visual, so like visual 1 and 2, which we can switch between, and where we can like load new ones into. For each parameter of their 24 possible parameters, we can switch between manual and each of these. So like for each parameter, I have all these options, so I can now control this manually. And I can also let this be controlled by the level, so the amplitude of the song, kick, snare, hats, or the rhythm that I'm playing in, which I'm gonna get to in a second. So I don't know why this is weird. This is weird. Something's weird. Anyways, so this means we really have a lot of like audio-active possibilities here, because for every parameter we can use different parts of the, for now it's just rhythms, but you know, you get the idea. So hopefully. Yeah, so it's really like elaborate. And how we like get these, that is like using a beat detection here. I can just show you. It's like for the level, we just have like a filter to like smooth out the signal, and like without, they all have the out option. So if we have this at the lowest, it's just gonna be a value between 0 and 1, and we can sort of overdrive this to like more strongly influence all of these parameters. And then we have these three like kick, snare, and hats, which all work the same. So we can like here like sort of like loosely define the spectrum that we want to use. And here we can define the gain, so like how loud the input is that we're getting into there, and also a lag. So of course there's no, I'm actually just gonna like use this because it's a bit, there's a beat constantly. So as you can see, if I like put this too low, it's not gonna pick up the kick. So as you can see, we have all of this feedback, but if I like fine tune this, we can like nicely pick up the kick here. And so if I turn down the lag, it's just gonna be a very short signal. If I make a longer lag, then it's a smoothed out signal. And again, we can overdrive the signal. And same for the snare. So if I go too low, it's just gonna pick up some weird frequencies, but here we can really see this picks up the snare pretty nicely. And for the hats, it's really hard. Like hats are very difficult too, but it's not too bad. Like it works pretty well. And yeah, so for the tap tempo and rhythm, just gonna like, before we get into that, I want to explain what's going on here. We have a tap tempo and a rhythm, because what I wanted to do here is to be able to play in a rhythm, so not just use data directly derived from the audio, but also like be able to actually play in a rhythm manually. So I tried to just do that with Touch Designer, but it didn't really work. So I connected Ableton to this, and as I said, I have a complete tutorial which I'm gonna link. But so what's happening here is that we so if we want to play in a rhythm, like I wanted to just record a short rhythm and play it, and then have it be quantized, so perfectly fit to the beat or the rhythm, and then loop immediately. So for that to happen, I need to have the right tempo, of course. So like we need to somehow set or like get the tempo of the song. So that's what I have, this tap tempo, which is sort of setting the tempo in Ableton actually. And then with the rhythm here, I can record a MIDI section, like a MIDI track, which is immediately after recording it, it's being quantized and then looped. So what I can do, if I just play this, I can just I think it's 132, so I could also like just type that in here, and with the pulse I just set the 1, so just align the 1 of, so now you can see this works pretty nicely. And now I can press record and then record a little rhythm based on the length here, so I can 1, 2, or 4 bars. I can record that long. Yeah, so now you can see it's working pretty well. And you know, this is really just as good as Ableton is, really. So the beat detection is completely working in Ableton, and I like not the beat, the rhythm, like the BPM detection. And as you can see, it doesn't work perfectly. He sometimes has to reset the one, or if you like live on stage with a DJ, for example, he's just gonna tell you, okay, it's gonna be 130 BPM, and then you can just do that. So I guess it's gonna be easier. But yeah, this is I'm quite proud of this. It's working pretty well. Cool. So and then you can just use this, you know, for wherever. So I can just show you here if I play this. There's a slight lag, but just ignore that for now. Yeah, so I'm gonna get to the other display here. So this is the monitoring part, as I explained at the beginning. So we have our both visuals that are happening simultaneously displayed here. So on the left we have visual 1 with its post controls, and on the right we have visual 2 with its post controls. And as I quickly said, I can control this with my MIDI device, MIDI controller, so I can like switch between these and then control some effects here. So for example, if I go to the second one, I can now insert a mirror effect and maybe displace this, so it's more like this typical sort of VJ thing. So as you can see here, we immediately see the output, and yeah, I don't know, try to mess around with the blur. So you can do some cool things. And the cool thing about having this on-off here for the effects, which is sort of inspired by Resolume, really. And having this on a physical thing, you can like sort of play this to the, like play the effects to the song. So that's definitely fun. So yeah, so there's some other effects here like brain, and we also have in the center, we can see we have our master output and our master controls, so we can set the resolution, and we can see the FPS, and we can also change the general brightness of both, like of the final output basically, so what's going to be sent to the beamer regardless of what visual is selected right now. We can like change the brightness and stuff, and yeah, we can like reset all the parameters so they're like they have a default value, stuff like that. All right, so that is basically it. I think I can I'm gonna show you some visuals in a second, but yeah, so I just want to like talk about some problems that we have here. And the main thing is, and yeah, this is actually what I'm actually going to just load. Like I have 7 visuals, as I said. So if I load in a new one, like this one is actually looking nice now, but it's really sort of a lucky shot right now. Because the main problem that we have with this setup right now is that if I load in a new visual, the corresponding parameters here, controls, aren't updated. So these are just like, these just stay the same. So if I change something here, you can immediately see the results, and they're often quite subtle, which is not that great sometimes. But yeah, as you can see here, I can like change some stuff here, and if I just play this, I can like Okay, anyways, so if I load in a new one, for example with this one, it's often a problem. Yeah, you can see it just disappears. Because all these parameters, like I'm working generally, just so you know, I'm working like for all of these, I'm working with feedback loops. So feedback loops are, as you know, maybe if you change something small, it has a huge effect. So if I don't know, like I have to like change a lot of stuff here to like get the right look, and on stage you can imagine how stressful that was. So it's really far from perfect. And that's why I think for the future, what this really needs is a. I wanted to show you like it looks cool actually, but I don't know which knobs to like, you know. There we go. It sort of gets closer to what I wanted to show you, but you can immediately see the problem here. So what I really want to add in the future, which will be super useful, is a preset system. So that we have, I don't know, like, or like scenes sort of. So we have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different scenes for visual or even more. And we can just immediately switch between those, and it's just gonna set all the parameters. So that's very necessary. That's something I definitely want to implement somehow in the future. I haven't gotten to that in the time being, but yeah. So the cool thing about the I'm actually gonna just show you a few more. Maybe it works. You know, it's again, you can see the problem here. But once it comes, it looks like, once it appears, it looks really cool. But yeah, you can see all the different visuals in the video I link below, like of the performance. So the cool thing about this visual, the spectrum one, is that it's, you know, based on a spectrum, so it's gonna work either way. So it's not like, it doesn't only respond to the speed detection, but it's really based on the spectrum, so it's gonna like work pretty well. You have a lot of like options here to like change stuff, which you can't really see well, you know. Yeah, also like the problem with this feedback loops is it can get ugly very quickly. I mean, this really doesn't look beautiful right now, but there are ways to make this look really beautiful. But yeah, anyways. So feedback loops aren't perfect, but it was also cool, like, you know, to show these live. They're definitely interesting, and you never really know what's gonna happen, which certainly makes this more interesting than just videos or something. And it looks often like it does look quite organic. The cool thing about having 2 visuals, so I want to talk about these 2 visuals because I might want to change that in the future. But the cool thing about having 2 visuals is like if like, you know, you have one song being played right now, and you just have this visuals that you're like outputting here, then and then you change, and then you know the next song is coming up. You can like already like load in a new visual, which is the same as the other one. Whatever, you get the idea, and then you can switch over, and then you already have everything set up nicely. So that's definitely a plus, but that's one of the only pluses actually. Like that's the main thing why I did this, so you can sort of work like a DJ. But this has some major problems, and the 2 major problems are that first, it's a lot more complicated to set up the whole system. Like it's so much more work. But the even graver problem is that it really drains the performance, having to run 2 full HD or even higher visuals, you know, at the same time. If you just have one, the performance is going to be super smooth. But yeah, this doesn't run well on a laptop or something, and that's really a huge problem. Like the performance isn't perfect, as you can see even on my quite powerful PC now. The FPS is just like 44 on this one. So, but it's also because I'm recording, of course. So yeah, that's definitely a huge thing. I might want to just completely redo this part because I might want to just reduce it to one visual and then just make these controls a lot more intuitive. Because about the controls, we also have the problem that there is some knobs where there should be buttons and stuff like that, you know. One last thing, what I have in mind for the future is that this black part is we can either add like more widgets for like MIDI controlling here. So I could, for example, use a Leap Motion to actually control this like an instrument, or a deeper integration with Ableton, which would be cool as well. Or you know, making more stuff like this. So more like beat-based, independent from like the audio stuff. It wasn't a sentence. So like widgets where you can create like a sort of a beat and loop and rhythms, you know, just based on like a main clock like this, and not just based on the audio, which could get a lot more interesting for the viewer as well. And then you don't have to like, because this kick detect, like the beat detection works quite well, but especially for like ambient stuff, you know, you can't use it basically. Then you don't have audio reactivity. But also, you know, maybe you don't always need audio reactivity. It's just fun to play with. All right, so this is a really long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to work on this, if you have any ideas for this, then please don't hesitate to just reach out to me. I'm totally open to collaborate, to maybe even publish this as on GitHub or something, work together on this, maybe start from scratch with a similar idea. I'm quite open for this. I definitely want to keep working with this. As I said, this is really an early version. I just tested everything, and it works, but there's definitely some flaws, especially with performance and stuff like that. So yeah, just let me know if you have any ideas, and I hope you have a great day, and see you in the next video.